having watched my most of my reviews, I think anyone that's watched my reviews knows that I was really a fan of Raven and SK and their love story, and I really loved how they were progressing. So I'm surprised. Maybe I'm a bit biased, but I'm surprised that people say, "Oh, their relationship was not real; it was fake." I don't know. Anyway, hey there, it's Valerie. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be sort of having just a conversation about Raven and SK's relationship from my own point of view. I know everyone has their own opinion, but hey, we're all just sharing opinions at the moment. Nobody has actual facts apart from Raven and SK. They did release a statement sort of saying, "We are saddened to announce that we have decided to go our separate ways. Due to ongoing legal proceedings surrounding these allegations, we cannot provide additional details and ask that you please respect our privacy during this hard time. Thank you for following our love story and believing in us. This journey has forever shaped our lives, and we are so grateful for everyone who has been a part of it. Your love and support means everything." And this was posted on SK and Raven's sort of stories. And I know Raven posted it on her TikTok stories as well. And I'm really sad for them, really, because I personally think they made a lot of progress in their relationship, and their relationship was actually something to be admired. And I think they sort of set a different format for what everybody else was doing. And I know from the start Raven was intrigued by SK. I remember her telling SK's mom that when she was asked, what is it about SK that you like? And she went, "He was a square." Um, but then the more I spoke to him, the more I learnt about him. And his mom was saying, "Oh, the same happens for me." And I think so. This is what attracted her initially to SK. And I think Raven even said, "I normally go for muscly types, but it never seems to work out for me. I'm always blinded by muscles. So at the moment, I'm sort of working on myself, and I want to look for a different type of love." And I think SK represented that love for her. He was articulate, he was intelligent, he was educated, he was financially stable because SK apparently invests in startup um, IT companies, and also he appeared emotionally stable. Whereas Raven for SK, I think because she was articulate, she appeared intelligent, she appeared very confident in herself, and knew what she wanted in a relationship and what she had to offer in the relationship. I think these are the qualities that sort of attracted them both to one another, and this is why they went ahead and proposed, because they saw potential in each other, and they thought, if I can sort of link myself up, if this works, then it's going to work. And this is not the first time any couple has done this. So even on Married at First Sight, some people don't have are not initially attracted to their partner, but they've taken a leap of faith, and it has worked out for most of them. Um, so the idea that people are saying, "Oh, Raven was not attracted to SK on the first day," I think on YouTube was saying on the first day she said she was laying on top of the bedding because she wasn't attracted to him, and it's like, well, if you watch Married at First Sight, then you'll know this is normal. Jamie season one was on the floor crying when she saw Doug. She was crying that she wasn't attracted to him. She didn't like him. She didn't think it would work, and she had to be begged to just go through the process. And now they've been married. I think Jamie and Doug have been married for 7, 8 years happily. They have their two children. I think one is now in school. And Shanice and Jeffy and another couple from season six. Jeffy wouldn't sleep in the same room as his wife on their honeymoon, and then they had to speak to the experts. Pastor Carl had a conversation with them. Eventually, Jeffrey agreed to sleep in the same room as his wife, but wanted to sleep on separate beds. They've been happily married. I think they're going into year five. They've got a 4-year-old daughter. So I think the fact that people are not initially attracted to one another, to me, is nothing really, because as their relationship grew, you could see the way their body language changed around one another. I think Raven said she comes across as standoffish. And so the thing about SK, and I think the reason why he won Raven over was he was patient and willing to wait. And in his patience, she eventually opened up, and this is how he managed to get her to fall in love with him. And he fell in love with her. I think their relationship was genuine. I seriously think their relationship was genuine. I think they put in the work, they were patient with one another, they were loving, they listened to one another, and they had a lot of conversations where they discussed any issues that arose in their relationship. But the other side of it was there were people that are not very in your face. I know Baptiste did an interview on us and said, oh, they're very secretive. Some people are just like that. I will go back to Married at First Sight. After Shanice and Jeffy were open about the struggles that they had in their relationship, the viewers started phoning Jeff to his workplace and started trying to get him fired because they didn't like the fact that he wasn't attracted to his wife, and he voiced out that he wasn't attracted to his wife. So they felt he wasn't fair to her. So ever since then, you find like most of the couples that have gone on to stay married, there are certain aspects of their relationships that they've kept private, away from the cameras. And I think whatever conversations that they have them in secret. And I think this is why they've started putting cameras in the living rooms. That way, if anything happens when they're not there, then they can catch it, because I think maybe couples were fighting and whatever, and they would only find out the day after. Now they have cameras in the living rooms, I think, to catch whatever happens with the couples while the crew is away. So for me, that is people protecting one another. Because even if you see their conversation when they were speaking at the reunion, they were very mindful of what they said about one another. They were mindful to make sure whatever comments they made, it didn't come across as hurtful or demeaning to the other person. And so it's nothing new. I don't see any problem with that, because at the end of the day, there's no point in you airing out your laundry and then having people attack your partner, and then you have to go home and sit and face the same person that you were sort of airing out your laundry. You might as well go and discuss whatever issues you have at home. That is not a problem to me. Someone said, "Oh, they're faking their relationship. This is why they're being sued." I don't think they're being sued for that. And if the Netflix or if Kinetic is going to go after them for faking their relationship, then they have to go back to season one. Kenny and Kelly accepted each other's proposal, realized that they would not say I do on decision day, but still went through the process of staying together as an engaged couple for the 4 weeks until they got to the altar and said I don't. Um, Shayna and Kyle. Shayna accepted Kyle's proposal, knowing she didn't like Kyle. They got engaged, went on the couples retreat, and then eventually halfway through the couples retreat, Shayna went back home because she couldn't hack it. Still, at when she came back to after the altar with her fiance in tow, they featured her fiance's restaurant, the Fena's workplace. She works in a salon. She's a hairdresser, and still they knew she was not in it for the right reasons. Kyle and Dipti from last season, they feature them as the highlight of the after the altar. So if they're going to go after Raven and SK and say they lied about that they were in a relationship, then they have to go after all those people. Dipti, Natalie, a lot of people have capitalized on their time on Love is Blind. So I don't think whatever litigation is going on has anything to do with their relationship per se, unless one of them came into the process saying they were single and yet they were not single, which it doesn't seem was the reason. Because Hannah said she and by the time he went, SK went to film Love is Blind, they were separated. No one has come out to say, yes, I was dating SK the time he was filming Love is Blind. So I don't believe that to be true. I think these two people fell in love. I think they had a conversation on the day that SK said, I don't, because there was a picture of SK sitting in his wedding attire and Raven sitting in the clothes that she had been wearing prior to putting on her wedding gown. So they must have had a conversation. I know that Raven said they did continue to talk after SK went off to Berkeley and eventually to date. And I think they went away with Matt, Colleen, Alexa, and Brennan on a holiday. I think they went as three couples. So I think this relationship was genuine. In her most recent interview before everything exploded, and I think the reason why everything exploded, Raven explained that they were seriously dating. She was planning on moving away from Texas, and they were going to move in with SK. So obviously they were going to have roommate issues. They were planning their future, and also SK's mom was very excited and was really keen for them to get married, and she wanted to get them married sooner rather than later. So they actually. This is why I was questioning Hannah's plans when she was saying we're discussing the future, because Raven had a proper plan of where they were going with SK. Hannah didn't. She just kept saying, SK kept talking about the future, SK kept, but Raven actually had a concrete plan whereby their plan was, I think, maybe once SK is finished his masters, they were going to move and then move in together, and then whatever they were going to do, whether they were going to get married or whatever their plan was. But this was their next step in their relationship. So people saying, "Oh no, they were not in love. They were pretending. They were making out. They were in a relationship." I think Raven and SK saw the potential in each other of the type of person they wanted to marry. So they decided to go through with the experiment, went through the 4 weeks, and realized that actually, I think this is the person for me. So at the altar, SK said, no, not today. And I think this is because there were issues. I know someone said, oh, they were not having any problem. There were issues. If you watch back, Raven complained and was crying when she was saying to SK, your family keep asking me about my family and what do you want me to do, you want me to go and force people? One, they had the lengthy discussion about the money where Raven was saying to SK, if you're going to go to college, then you have to pay half of my rent. I think because half of his stuff would be in her flat. And so there were issues, but they were not magnified because the producers had a vision of how they wanted to portray Raven and SK, and I think they didn't want them to be the squabbling couple because they started off by painting Raven as someone who was very superficial, and then when they saw the progress of the relationship, they decided to pivot and show her best qualities. This is why Raven was saying we recorded a lot of scenes with animals, with us doing charity work and stuff, and I'm surprised none of it came in because the producers had a vision of how they wanted to portray Raven and SK, and so I think they were genuinely in love, and I think they were planning on getting married. How soon? I don't know. But I know for a fact Raven said SK's mom was pushing for them to get married, and they themselves had planned on moving in together. Where they were moving in, she hadn't said where they were moving to or when they were moving in. But there's actually an interview online. I think I'll try and see if I can find it. Obviously, if you're keen to know it, to see the interview, just leave a comment. I'll try and link up the sort of video where she was talking about SK, his mom, and how his mom is keen for them to get married. Anyway, I digress. I get so impassioned about this because I think people are projecting their own thoughts into the situation that are not necessary, and people are basing their views on and ideas on things that are being said by people who have their own ulterior motives. They're saying they dated SK, all of them. It was before Raven, and I don't know why they've all decided to come out. Hannah's timelines don't match with whatever she's saying and the pictures that she's releasing. But anyway, I digress. I'll do at some point. I'll discuss that. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye everyone.